What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Drites Bro Sports channel. Ethan here again with another ESPN mock draft. Before we get started, guys, this mock today is a little bit of a special one. This is the first one we have on the channel that is directly resulting in a comment request. Shout out to Antonio Noonan for commenting, not only commenting, but finding and viewing the channel. Appreciate your comment. This one's for you, but also just for everyone watching. Feel free to continue to comment your guys' home leagues and what spot you want me to pick from on these ESPN mock drafts, and we can continue to get those out for you. Also, before the draft starts, please feel free to like and subscribe on the videos in the channel just to show support to a raw and newer channel. So we appreciate you guys. Also, Antonio, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. I probably will continue this draft. If I bring you up again, I'll just use your first name, Antonio. But yeah, let's get into the draft, guys. Pick number 3 out of 12 people, PPR, like we have been doing. This is the first one at the 3 spot that we'll get on the channel. Works out very nicely. What I want to say as my philosophy, if I'm drafting from the 3 spot, I find it to be kind of one of the more chill spots to draft when we're talking the first round, because essentially it's going to be CMC and then CD or Tyreek, and you just get to choose who falls to you, right? So you don't really have to overthink it. Now, for example, on this one, CeeDee Lamb CeeDee Lamb has not gone yet. We're going to go with CeeDee Lamb, not overthink it at all. CMC, then Tyreek, and then we just get CD. Now, if it goes CMC, CeeDee Lamb, then Tyreek, then we just pick up Tyreek, and we love it. Also, if you're in your league and you for some reason your league mates drafting 1 and 2 do not want CMC, and he falls to you, take CMC. So my personal rankings for those 3 would be Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, and then Tyreek Hill. I am growing more on Tyreek Hill, so I wouldn't, if Tyreek Hill falls to you at 3, that feels awesome too. I'm almost considering taking him at 2. I'm still on CeeDee Lamb, probably 75% CeeDee Lamb, 25% Tyreek Hill for that second overall player. Let me know in the comments, guys, who you think should be the second overall after Christian McCaffrey, if it's CeeDee Lamb or Tyreek Hill. Just overall who you like more for this next season. We're still in late July. Keep that in mind. So keep track of all the injuries and stuff. So far, we haven't had any huge injuries to any of these offensive players. So that could obviously change as well and change the draft significantly if something happens. But so far, Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, and Tyreek Hill, even though Tyreek Hill is a great pick as well. I was going to say, too, if you don't like any of those guys for whatever reason, I wouldn't be upset with anyone if they wanted to go with Jamar Chase at your 3rd spot. I also like Jamar Chase, but after that, it's like I'd rather just take any of those guys that fall to you. No one really after Jamar Chase at the 3rd pick, so that's my philosophy so far in the first round with this pick. I think it's kind of chill because ultimately, if the draft falls the way it should in most leagues, you just get to choose whoever falls to you, and you don't have to think about it very much. It's either going to be probably most likely Tyreek Hill, maybe Christian, or maybe CeeDee Lamb. So I'm going receiver in this one, like you probably will in your draft as well. I will say, coming up on your 2nd round pick in this turn, I am absolutely looking at running backs. At the very least, trying to solidify like that RB1, and so it opens the door up if you want to go hero RB build the rest of the draft, or just in general to have that locked in. Guys I'm targeting here in order would probably be in full PPR. Kyron Williams, if he happened to fall to you late 2nd round, take him without thinking too much about it. And then Travis Etienne, that's who I'm targeting here. After Travis Etienne, it's probably Derrick Henry, and then Isaiah Pacheco, who just went. After those guys, it gets into like another tier. It's like Rashad White, and then Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs. I'm not huge on Devon Achane, as if you've seen any of my earlier videos. He's probably the last out of all of these guys, in my personal opinion. I understand if you love him and you want to take him, that's fine. But yeah, that's kind of the order I'm looking at here. So Travis Etienne's fallen to you here. I'm taking Travis Etienne. We're moving on. Full PPR, he should be the lead back. I really like Travis Etienne as like the RB1 just to kind of solidify that spot. We talked a little bit about Joe Mixon and James Cook in previous videos. I do like them. I am kind of cooling off of Joe Mixon. He hasn't done anything in training camp so far. I think they still want to use Dameon Pierce, and Joe Mixon is getting older. So I think it could be more of like a split backfield than we maybe want it to be. So I'm almost like rather would take Josh Jacobs or Rachaad White or Alvin Kamara there. Just a guy to talk about and keep in mind. Okay, this is an interesting thing here. We could solidify our RB2. I think it is a little early. I mean, Devon Achane's still there. You could solidify your RB2. If you like your builds when you solidify your RB2 early, go probably, in my opinion, Josh Jacobs first. Let me pick. I'm going to pick Mike Evans here. I personally don't mind waiting a little bit longer, going more hero RB. So my order there for the guys that were just available would probably be Josh Jacobs, and then probably Rachaad White or Alvin Kamara. I like both of them. And then Joe Mixon, and then Achane. I'm so far down on Achane. So I apologize if you like Achane. Take him if you really like him there. That's fine. But I'm not in on him. And I like getting, I like solidifying the RB2, but I also like getting the wide receiver because I'm obviously looking to get another wide receiver as my flex. So this build opens up more options for the rest of the draft. I'm still looking for an RB. I'm still looking for another receiver. And then we'll look at QB and tight end positions as well. Just if I solidify that running back there, it kind of just like now I'm done with running back and I'm just looking for receivers, which I can't lie. I still like those builds, but we're going to see how this mock looks at least. Like I keep saying, though, if you love one of those running backs there and you're not in love with a Mike Evans or whoever else was there at the wide receiver position, a Stephon Diggs or any of those guys, then just take your running back, take your RB2 and move on. And then you can target receiver at your next pick. Which isn't a bad idea because there's so many of these receivers that I do like that you could just double down on receiver on your next picks and feel pretty good about it as well. So, Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker still there. I will say I almost guarantee you Josh Jacobs and Kenneth Walker won't be there. If they happen to fall to you at your fourth pick in your draft and you build your team out like I have, similar to how I have so far, and you're looking for that other running back, your RB2, go with them. Take that Josh Jacobs or Kenneth Walker and solidify their RB2. If those guys are gone, I'm probably just going to keep waiting on it. And we're going to fill our RB2 up with a guy we like maybe in like the 7th round. Maybe if James Conner's there, or maybe even like as far down as a Zach Moss. I am growing a lot on Zach Moss lately. And just destroy the rest of your league with like a sweet flex play and a solid tight end and quarterback. So, and then you go later in your draft and you take some flyers on running backs and you just are aggressive on the waiver wire when it comes to your RB2 position. So I tend to build a lot of my teams out like that when I'm drafting early in the round, just because I like to have a strength somewhere. If you're drafting early in the round, it's harder for you to get that like top tier RB. So I got my one RB at least to solidify that, and then I want to like have my strength of my team compared to other people in my league. I want it to be at the receiver position. So what has happened here is Kenneth Walker has fallen to me. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take Kenneth Walker as my RB2. He's fallen to me. I feel good about him at the end of the 4th round. We're going to just solidify that, and then we'll look to get our flex play. So I would have been fine with Debo. He goes. If Malik Neighbors lasts to the end of the 4th round, early 5th round, you take him. I won't be surprised if he starts going beginning of the fourth round by the time we're all said and done with the draft season, and we're in late August. So keep that in mind. He's at like if he's not getting picked here, we're going Malik Neighbors as our flex, and we're gonna love it. If he is picked here, I might pivot and just look to get like Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Jaden Reed later. Malik Neighbors is not picked. We're taking Malik Neighbors. So far, I absolutely love this start to this draft. I think it has high upside with a lot of the players, but it also feels pretty safe. Like, we got somewhat lucky with getting Kenneth Walker as our RB2. That feels like it's made the RB position in your team more safe. But we also have these crazy wide receivers who just all have high upside. And having Malik Neighbors last to the fifth round feels great. I've talked a lot of crap about Malik Neighbors in other videos. The bottom line is I like Malik Neighbors if he's going at value, which is the end of the fourth, fifth round, beginning of the fifth round. Even like middle fourth rounds, fine to take him. When Malik Neighbors starts going at the end of the second round or anywhere in the third round, I'm not taking him. I do like the player, though. So, not going to spend too much of your video or this video talking about Malik Neighbors, though. Looking at this next turn approaching, we are looking for tight end and quarterbacks. We'll take a peek at both of them. Doesn't mean we have to take them. I am probably going to snatch up a tight end here. It's between Ingram, Pitts, and Kittle. I'm probably fading Ingram. I do like Ingram. I'm probably fading him because I have Travis Etienne Jr., so keep that in mind when you're drafting. I personally don't like getting skill position players on the same team, especially on an offense that's supposed to be like maybe middle of the pack. If you're getting skill position players from the same team, make it be from like one of the top projected offenses in the league. Like maybe the Bengals or the Chiefs or the Eagles or the 49ers, for example. So this worked out really great because I don't have any 49ers players, even though I said it's just fine if you want to do double down on 49ers skill position players. George Kittle's a guy I love to get at the end of the sixth, beginning of the seventh round. I target George Kittle to solidify your tight end position. Love that. Continuing the great start to this draft. I think he's the end of a tier. So after George Kittle, you get Njoku and Ferguson and Bowers. I think they're all in a lower tier than George Kittle. So you get the last guy in that tier. You get to wait the longest for the tight end position. That worked out perfectly. Okay, taking a peek at the quarterbacks. Now, this is a situation here where you really have to think about which quarterbacks on this list later in the draft are you okay with getting. Are you okay getting a Caleb Williams or a Brock Purdy super late? And then that allows you to continue to build your bench and make like a strong bench. Or do you feel like you need a Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott? If you get CeeDee Lamb, I like getting Dak Prescott to stack. But there's also a lot of value right now, and we're not going to get a pick for a while. So I'm going to pass on quarterback in this time. If you really feel like you need quarterback, go ahead and take it. My decision here is to go just build the bench out. I liked Keenan Allen, Rashee Rice, and Watson. I have been talking a lot about the Chiefs offense and Rashee Rice in the past video or two. I'm growing on Rashee Rice a little bit. It doesn't look like he's going to get suspended this year. They're going to take that Alvin Kamara route and wait till next year, I think. I am totally fine getting Rashee Rice in the seventh round, especially if he's going to be like my first player off the bench. That feels like high upside, right? And now since I got my 4 receivers that I really like, I can kind of like stop drafting receivers. I can build out my bench with my running backs, and I also am looking for QB still. So, yeah, I think in full PPR, just value those receivers more. So I'm not scared to take the ones I really like a little bit earlier and then fill out the rest of those running backs and maybe even my quarterback. Or if you abandon your quarterback or your tight end, for example. You just wait on those and you build out a strong bench because that ultimately helps you win your leagues during the bye weeks. And if someone's getting hurt, it just has you have a deep team. Also brings up trade opportunities. It's something that I try to target if the draft falls to me. You just find some players that you really like. Like I said, Rashee Rice, Christian Watson's still there. I mean, he just goes. I was going to say, if he falls all the way to the end of the 8th, I'm taking him too. I want to bring up as well, I also don't mind Jackson Smith and Jigba. DeAndre Hopkins, in the 8th round isn't a bad pick either. You could, if you like him, target him. Lad McConkey is a guy looking at this list of wide receivers here. After Lad McConkey, it just drops off. I don't really care to get any of these guys until my last pick of my draft. So if Lad McConkey falls here, I might get my 5th receiver and take him. Let's look at quarterbacks. Jordan Love's still there. Going to have a hard time not taking Jordan Love first if he falls to our pick. And then, the regular kind of foes of running back are here. We got guys like Blake Corum, Trey Benson, Charbonnet, Ford, Brown, J.K. Dobbins, Algier. All of those guys are guys I want to start drafting for the end of my bench. Okay, Jordan Love's still here. Now, once again, if you don't love Jordan Love and you are okay with a Caleb Williams, a Purdy, just continue to wait. I think Jordan Love is going to be sweet this year. I think their offense is going to be sick. Let's lock up Jordan Love as your QB1. Is that not a sick team? This is one of my favorite teams I've drafted so far this mock draft season. So, you're welcome, Antonio. If you can get this in your league, I'd feel very, very, very good about it. If I can get this in my main home league where I'm drafting 2nd overall, which is a similar pick, I will be very, very happy about it. McConkey's still there. So here's what I'm going to do. Remember, you're drafting from upside. For upside. You could take these bench and backup running backs, or you could just take the upside players and continue to just wait, right? You're trying to draft a league-winning team. Only one person wins. Take McConkey. You already have 4 receivers, but now you're done drafting receivers, essentially. You have a bunch of high upside receivers. You're trying to win the league. You're not trying to just come middle of the pack in your league. So draft those guys if they're falling. Lad McConkey in the 9th round, you take him every day. Still early July, training camp starts, just kicking up. He's getting a lot of hype, Lad McConkey is. So he's another riser. I could see if they change their rankings here on ESPN, which they usually do. I feel like they haven't updated their rankings much throughout the last few weeks. So we'll see if they end up doing that as we get into August. But Lad McConkey's a guy that I expect to rise. You probably won't be able to get him in the 9th round by the end of August. If you can, then pick him up. Don't be afraid to pick him. Excuse me. So now we have our stacked team with all of our starters set and all of our receivers on our bench set. Now we're throwing darts at running backs. You pick guys that you think you go into your draft with a list, a handful of guys that you target at the end of your drafts that you like. My guys that I've talked about a bunch. I'm fine with Trey Benson, he just got chosen. I'm fine with Zach Charbonnet, he's chosen. If you want to take someone like Chase Brown, he seems like he's a high upside late round pick because he's in a good offense. If you want to take a chance on J.K. Dobbins, I get that. If you want to try to solidify Gus Edwards, he had a good year last year, I get it. Tyler Algier is a guy I really like. Rico Dowdle, we love. After Rico Dowdle, you have some rookies. Jalen Wright. Probably Chasey Jr., I'm passing on just because his offense is projected to be horrible. Ray Davis is a guy if you want to try to get a handcuff like Ray Davis or Elijah Mitchell for your bench. That's fine as well. So we have options here. I'm going double running back here, no matter what. Because we've already built out our team how we like it. Although now we kind of limited ourselves to what we can do. There's several running backs here that I don't mind getting late. I'm not going to be able to believe if Wow, Zach Charbonnet, we got so lucky. So the thing here with Zach Charbonnet is it maybe isn't such a good pick for us because we have Kenneth Walker, but maybe that's the reason why it is a good pick for us. And since we're drafting him at the end of the 10th round, if you want to go super high upside, maybe skip on Charbonnet and go for J.K. Dobbins or someone else. But let's just handcuff Kenneth Walker right now. I do like Zach Charbonnet as well in general. I don't have a lot of drafts, to be honest with you, that I'm finding myself being able to get Kenneth Walker to fall to the pick that I want him at. We're going to take out Tyler Algier now. So that feels like some good bench running backs. We'll get at least one more, probably Rico Dowdle, if he's able to fall. If not, no worries, we'll pick up Ray Davis. So, yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of a weird thing you can go into the end of your draft thinking about. I mean, if you're trying to handcuff your starting running back, this is a situation I haven't been able to get a lot, having Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. I like them both. I usually target Zach Charbonnet because you can just get him at the 11th round like we just did over Kenneth Walker. But if Kenneth Walker is going to fall to you at the end of the 4th or early 5th round and you're looking to solidify your RB2 position, then take him and don't feel guilty about it, right? It just so happened to work out that we got his handcuff in the 11th round, and at the end of the day, that was a safe pick, maybe not the high upside pick. If it doesn't work out or someone ends up getting hurt, either way, it feels fine. So, bunch of auto picks, bunch of defenses and kickers going. That's probably how a lot of our home leagues are going to look. Defenses and kickers, some of them are going to be going way too early. And then that lets you get guys like Rico Dowdle falling to you at the end of the 12th round or even the beginning of the 13th round. Here we go. We get our Rico Dowdle pick. If you like Lloyd from the Packers, go ahead and get him. I just don't like him right now because he's battling injuries and he's the 3rd on the depth chart. So another thing, we're going to go Ray Davis, a guy that we always like to get. A thing with Ray Davis, I just saw today that one of their backup running backs, Ty Johnson on the Bills, went down with an injury. So that's just like more opportunity now for Ray Davis. And if something happens to James Cook, or even if something doesn't happen to James Cook, they may just try to limit James Cook's touches to keep him healthy. Ray Davis is a guy that's probably going to see the field this year, guys. So if you're picking a guy in the 14th round, end of the 13th round, and you're looking for some running back depth, Ray Davis is a guy I target over a lot of other people. So we only have one more bench spot and then the kickers and tight ends at the end. Now that we've kind of evened out our bench with receivers and running backs, I'm fine to go back to receiver and target some guys that just at the very end of your bench, just high upside. We got Marvin Mims there. We got Gabe Davis. We got Wicks. You know what? I'm probably going to go with I'm going to go with a Green Bay receiver. Let's go with Wicks. Other guys I wouldn't care if you got. I'd understand if you wanted to go. Gabe Davis is fine. Thielen's fine. Jahan Dotson's the guy we talked about. Josh Palmer, I already have McConkey. That's why I'm not going Palmer. Let's get Wicks. Also, I saw Purcell on there. We've talked about Purcell and being injured. I just saw today as well that he is... Let's go Bates as our kicker. I saw that Purcell is cleared to practice, guys. We were talking about him having like a hamstring injury or something. Forget what video it was we were talking about him. Just one of the last couple of videos. And I was like, I'm out on him as a rookie guy that's battling for a spot on the roster, essentially. And he's already battling hamstring injuries. I'm out on him late. Now, if Ayuk gets traded or Debo, gets traded, Purcell has some upside. But until that happens, I'm just like not taking him. Take Josh Palmer. Take Jahan Dotson over him all day. So, just a late round guy to talk about there. We're going to finish out this draft with a defense, and then we're going to rank the team out of 10. I'm telling you right now, this is probably going to be the highest rank I've given a team so far in all of my mock drafts, especially on the videos on the channel. So I'll see what you guys say. Well, let's just go Jags D doesn't really. Still haven't looked too much into like what defenses are going to be good. Don't overthink it in mocks though. Okay. Before we go through this team, remember to, if you want to comment comments what you think this team is graded out of 10 as well. I've always grade my teams out of 10. If you don't want to comment something about what we talked about in the video or your personal leagues, wanting me to draft from your home league, feel free to comment what you think of my team at the end. So let's go through it one at a time and then we'll grade it. Jordan Love. If I'm waiting on a quarterback, Jordan Love is a guy I'm targeting to fill out my roster. I think the Packers' offense is going to be awesome this year. I think Jordan Love's going to be – he's proven through the end of the season last season and in the playoffs that he's a baller. He just got paid. He has tons of weapons. I think Jordan Love, later in your drafts, if he's still going to be there, is like an A- pick. Awesome pick. Travis Etienne Jr., Kenneth Walker, my starting running backs. Now, it felt really good that Kenneth Walker fell a little bit to us so we could solidify that RB2 position. He was a guy that was like last of a tier for me. If he wasn't there, I was going to wait on running back for a while, so that would have changed the way I would have thought of this draft. I think since he fell, that feels really nice. I don't think our starting running back room is like super elite. I just think they're solid. I'll give them like a B or B plus for my starting running back room. Totally fine leaving a draft with those two guys in my starting lineup. Completely fine with it. Full PPR or normal. Or half PPR or whatever. Feels good. Receivers. We started with CeeDee Lamb and Mike Evans. Elite. We had Malik Neighbors fall to us at the beginning of the 5th round, which I think is of great value for Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is a guy I'm high on. It's just I'm not allowing myself to get too high on him if he's going too early, because at the end of the day, the Giants' offense is going to be bad. So the upside is there because he's the only receiver in the offense, and they're always going to be losing, and they're always going to need to be throwing, so he'll get targets, right? The bottom line, though, if the Giants are one of the lowest scoring offenses in the NFL, the touchdown upside isn't there, and Daniel Jones isn't that good, I don't think. I feel like it's not even I don't think. We all know Daniel Jones isn't that good. So, but if you can get Malik Neighbors, the talent is just off the charts. So he's a great pick at the beginning of the 5th round if you can get him in your flex. That feels great. I think the starting receiving room is like an A- as well overall. And then if you want to just talk about it now, we'll talk about Rashee Rice and McConkey as the first 2 receivers on the bench. That brings it up a little bit too because I love those guys. That's like brings it up from an A- to an A wide receiving room there. And then we get George Kittle as our tight end. That's like an A- pick as well. He's the last of a tier. If you're able to get him later, like I think we got him, what was it, like the 6th or the 7th round? If he's that last of the tier there, scoop him up. Baller tight end, he could get 3 touchdowns in a game. That's his upside, right? They'll have every tight end's a little consistent from time to time, inconsistent from time to time. They will have some games where he gets you 5 PPR points, but he has games where he has 3 touchdowns, so it evens out. I'll give that an A-. Maybe he's like a B+ tight end. But I feel fantastic about getting George Kittle in my tight end spot if he falls to you there. And then we kind of finish out our draft with guys we've talked about a lot already, so I'm not going to talk about them too much, but we feel good about Charbonnet. It just so happened that we got him as a handcuff for Kenneth Walker. In this particular draft, we also get Tyler Algier, who I really like, behind a Bijan Robinson. We don't have Bijan Robinson, but I think Tyler Algier is going to get plenty of carries still with Bijan Robinson, even though Bijan Robinson's the starter. Rico Dowdle, we've talked about so many times. Just feel good about having him late. Ray Davis, and then we finished off with a Wicks to like a handcuff to our quarterback, but also just a high upside guy and a high octane offense. Okay. One of my favorite drafts, as I've mentioned. This is a 9 at least. Minimum a 9 out of 10. I'm going to give it a insanely high grade. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. This draft, in my personal opinion, couldn't have gone much better. Every single position, including my bench, is one that I feel strongly about this season. Not only is there upsides, but it also feels super, like there's a super, maybe not super high floor, but there's a solid floor. I would absolutely love to leave my main home league draft with this team. I would feel fantastic about it in full PPR. I'd feel just fine about it as well in non-PPR. There would be some guys that I would probably target differently if we're not doing PPR, but this feels awesome. I'm giving it a 9.5, which is easily the highest score I've given any of my mocks this mock season, and definitely the highest score I've given to a mock draft on the channel so far. You guys let me know what you think. Antonio, let me know what you think in the comments. I appreciate you commenting. Everyone else that sees the video, feel free to leave your comments about this mock draft. Leave your comments about any of the players we've talked about in this mock draft. I like to hear your guys' and see your guys' opinions and interact with you in the comments. I also don't mind if you guys continue to comment your draft positions in your home league so we could try to attempt them. Keep in mind that we will be using ESPN mocks. And other than that, guys, yeah, this was a very fun mock draft. I do have another video already ready to go that will get out within the next couple days as well. I wanted to get this one out early for the viewer request. So keep that in mind. We'll be drafting from the 1 spot overall here very soon. We'll get that out probably within the next 2 or 3 days from now. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. Appreciate you watching and commenting. Stay tuned for the next videos. See ya. Peace.